A district court judge shot and killed in his own chambers. The accused gunman, the local sheriff.
Letcher County Courthouse, that shot's fired.
What exactly went down in the Letcher County Courthouse that left a Kentucky judge dead?
Sheriff Shawn Stines is accused of fatally shooting Mullins in his chambers.
New allegations have surfaced, pointing to a possible sex for favor scheme reaching beyond the courthouse walls and into the community.
They would make sure to make you feel as small and degraded and belittled as possible to take your power away, you know?
Why was the judge not named in the civil lawsuit? Just for the simple fact that it was his chambers that these women were being SA'd in.
And now, new allegations against Judge Mullins has everyone wondering what was going on in this small Kentucky town.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Inside the Mind. And today we have a very special guest, as you all can see, because the case that we are talking about today is a case out of Letcher County, Kentucky. And it's the case involving the former sheriff, Shawn Stines, who allegedly shot and killed the judge in his own chambers. And I couldn't think of a better person to bring on the show to talk through this case with. So I would like to introduce everyone to Elizabeth Jones, who is the host of Hillbilly Crime, the very popular YouTube channel. Elizabeth, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me, darling. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. And we have a ton to talk about in this case. But just to bring everyone up to speed, I think it was last September. Do I have that correct, Elizabeth?
Yep.
Wow. So it's been a little over a year.
Yep.
So last September, like I said, former sheriff Shawn Stines allegedly shot and killed a district judge, Judge Kevin Mullins, in his chambers. And we don't have a trial date yet. Is that correct also?
Yeah, they haven't set the trial date. They've been doing a lot of like having mental health evaluations and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll have a date. It'll be in 2026, I'm sure. Right.
And I would imagine that stuff just takes time to do and process. So, but sorry, go ahead.
I think we'll probably end up seeing a plea deal. I don't even think it'll go to trial. I could be wrong, but
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of am with you on that because, and I'm sure we'll get into this, but lately there has been some stuff coming out about, I guess I would say more of his mental health state. Which it's obviously pretty clear that he's going for an insanity defense. But I agree with you. I would imagine, I'll say it this way. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a plea deal. And I guess I have a question for you right out of the gate for that is, could it potentially be a plea deal where he doesn't end up in jail?
well, they could send him to a hospital. I think that's probably what they're hoping for. Extreme emotional disturbance is what they have claimed, that in that moment, something, the stress or something had triggered him, to act or react the way that he did. I'm very critical of the entire investigation, though. I don't know if you want to explain who Ben Fields is, or if you would like me to.
Oh, I would love for you to explain
Okay,
who
so
Mr. Ben Fields is, because I think you could do a much better job than I could. So,
well, he was one of Mickey's deputies. And he basically took Mickey's place. So Mickey was the bailiff for Judge Mullins for 10 years in district court. And then he decided to run for sheriff in the election of 2018. That election itself was pivotal in putting all of this cast of characters in their places, for this perfect storm to arise. Mickey runs for sheriff and he wins. Well, the whole time that he was bailiff for Judge Mullins, Banfield worked in the basement in the jail as a jail guard. So they all work right there together. So Ben Fields is bringing inmates up to court, with Mickey. They all were very, very close co-workers. They worked with each other intimately daily. So they all knew who Ben Fields was, for a long time.
Right, yeah.
So Mickey wins the sheriff position, and they have to replace him as bailiff, and they choose Ben Fields to come up and take his place as bailiff. Well, then he also takes Mickey's place in the house arrest program. So they have a very loosely implemented house arrest program where they set people up on ankle monitors at home. Well, it's an independently contracted position. It is not like this big company and you have employers or employees and an employer. The people who own the company live somewhere else, and they've just contracted with someone at the jail, which was Mickey to begin with. Then he passes it down to Ben. Ben Fields is proposing to these women. I mean, he basically used the house arrest system as his own discretionary, like the judge could order somebody to have house arrest. And if Ben didn't like that person, male or female, if he didn't like that person, he just wouldn't go interview them and get them hooked up on the house arrest. It doesn't matter what the judge ordered. If he didn't want to do it, he just didn't do it. And then if he did put them on house arrest, then as they're leaving the jail, it's another thing. Where in the world have you ever seen I'll write you an IOU for house arrest? Like, these people were not even approved. Nobody had ever brought in the first dime of money or anything. They just gave him house arrest. He goes and interviews them. And if he thinks that he wants to let them out, then he does. On a promissory condition, But here's the thing. Okay, so if you don't have the money to pay your week, $85 a week, if you don't have the money to get hooked up on your house arrest today, we can work something out. And so Jennifer Hill is one of the victims that was in the lawsuit, the civil lawsuit against Mickey and Ben.
And she passed away, right?
She died under very suspicious overdose circumstances. Absolutely. But when he proposed that to her, leaving the jail, she says, well, no, thank you. My husband, I have a husband and we'll pay it today. Don't worry. We got enough money to pay for mine. There's no need for any kind of favors.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to make people clear at home. How much is it to have one of those? Like, is it $100 a week? Is it $50 a week to have that? Isn't there
it's $85 a week.
$85 a week. So that's a car payment.
Yeah. Oh,
that is expensive.
And then there's a hookup fee. So like the initial hookup fee, I don't remember exactly what it was, but we'll just say it's $100.
Sure.
And then you've got to pay $85 a week after that. Well, that's the money that Ben gets paid. So, but it's all cash business. They don't take any checks. They don't take no debit cards. They don't take nothing but cash.
So there's no paper trail.
The only paper trail that they've got are physical receipts that Ben's wife wrote most of. So as they're getting released from jail to go out on house arrest, what they're told is you come back to the jail every week and pay your fee, pay your weekly fee. Well, who works at the jail? His wife. He don't work there no more. He works upstairs in district court now. He don't work in the jail. Why are they sending them to the jail to pay their fees? Well, all that did, so that makes me wonder, why was the jail and his wife, since her name was written on all these receipts, how come they were not mentioned in the civil lawsuit? You know, there were other, why was the judge not named in the civil lawsuit in his official capacity? Just for the simple fact that it was his chambers that these women were being SA'd in. It's still his responsibility to make sure that his chambers are not used in that kind of a way, you know.
Exactly.
Still his
And
responsibility.
absolutely. And for people that aren't familiar with the explosion that happened in this case, other than the sheriff shooting the judge, this has never happened. So that was the initial thing that was such a shock factor to everyone, is what is going on in Letcher County, because what would motivate this sheriff to shoot this judge, which, by the way, is on camera. I know we're saying allegedly, but it's on camera.
Yeah.
And we'll get into this too, but he knew there was a camera in there. And the camera, correct me if I'm wrong, Elizabeth, was placed because of what was going on in the chambers. I don't think there's a camera in other chambers in the country.
Not like that.
Not like that. So we have the sheriff shooting the judge. That was the first wow factor in all of this. Then you peel the layers and start to discover, whoa, what's going on in Letcher County? And that's what we're talking about here, is the sextortion scandal that is being uncovered right now. And Banfield was charged criminally.
He was not charged criminally, though, until that civil suit was filed.
Until that civil suit. And
civil suit.
That's where we're at right now in our conversation, because Mickey had a deposition, I think it was 3 or 4 days.
3 days.
3 days before he shot the judge. So was he being threatened? Hey, you better keep your mouth shut. Don't tell who else is involved. So that's where we're at in this conversation with Banfield. The Sabrina Atkins and that really opened this can of worms into this alleged sextortion scandal that was going on.
That's a great point that you just made. The shooting, like, none of this stuff was really known very wide. It really was not known, even though there was a newspaper article, written about it whenever it happened. A lot of people don't read the newspaper. If you're getting your news or your information now, it's usually coming from whatever platform in your area is popular. Here, it's Facebook. Everybody goes to Facebook to find out what's going on in the area.
Right, yeah.
And so people weren't really aware of anything that had to do with Banfields and what was going on. Now, the rumors about the judge's chambers have been for decades. That chambers was being used before Mullins ever got in there as judge.
Wow.
And these things were happening.
This picture we're looking at right now, is this, because I've heard some mixed messaging. Is this the chambers or is this his office?
Well, that's a good question. So this is the room that everybody is calling the chambers. Now, one of the victims, the actual, victims,
Right.
has told me personally that's not the room that she was raped in.
Oh.
She says that there was a different desk. And now there was things did happen in this room. Some people were done in this room. But there's from what I gather, there's another room in that courthouse somewhere.
Wow.
And I was told that it had a keypad entry, like maybe a private office,
Right.
like you said. I think this is the jury room. Like, if we really wanted to be like technical with it, I think this might be the jury room. You know what?
Interesting.
Actually, I'll have to do it whenever I get off of here, but I have a map. I have a couple maps that somebody sent me that show the layout of the
The
courthouse.
courthouse. I think you sent me those too.
Did I send them to you
Yeah, I was
already?
looking
Okay.
at them.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting
Um,
though. So
But yeah, so I don't know.
yeah,
And
well,
from what he said, he admitted to having sexual relations with women in the bathroom, in the judge's chambers, and in the elevator.
Banfields this is?
Yes.
Wow.
So I
It-
guess it doesn't really matter.
right? Yeah.
It's all over the courthouse.
All over the courthouse. This is not for anybody that hasn't followed this case, and let me just say, guys, Elizabeth is the person that has been covering this case more than anybody. She is the boots on the ground. Like, she is the person to talk to. So we're so glad we're having this conversation. But for people that are not from Letcher County, outsiders, people looking at this story from the lens of like the news outlet, there was so much that wasn't talked about, still isn't talked about. I've learned so much about this case from you, someone who lives in Letcher County. And I think that just adds to the wow factor here, because there's so much more that the media is not talking about, including I think NewsNation was maybe the first to maybe break the Sabrina Atkins audio stuff. And then this avalanche effect started to be like, oh yeah, let's talk about this. But from what I understand from you, the media had that stuff.
Yes.
They just weren't talking about it.
That's right. Honey, you know your stuff. You've done your research.
I've watched you
I'm
because you've done
impressed.
your research. And that, like I said before, I was like, yeah, we got to talk about this case on the show. But I was like, I'm not going to talk about this case on the show. I'm going to have Elizabeth talk about this case, because you just know so much more about what's going on, obviously, because you live in Letcher County. But so we got Ben Fields. We talked about him. Can we give people, this isn't new knowledge, but can we just quickly go over what his sentence was like and what his conditions were? Keep in mind, this is someone who pled guilty to this awful behavior. So just keep that in mind when we talk about the royalty, I'll put it that way, that he was served up. Because when I heard about his conditions in the jail, I was like, are you kidding me?
You can't make it up.
If you want to go into that, because
Sure. So, like we just said, he worked in that jail for 10 years. Okay, so that was his house. Whenever he first got hired on, from what I understand, Angie, who is his current wife now, she was married to someone else, and she also worked at the jail. Well, whenever he started working there, him and her ended up having an affair. Well, while they were having an affair on her husband, after they get off work every day, or while they're on work, I don't know, but he admitted that they would go into the bathroom there at the courthouse and have their little quickie.
Right.
And then, they'd go home or whatever. Well, so fast forward a little bit, she divorces her husband. They get married. And so they're working there together. And she is like top dog at the jail. So whenever he gets in trouble, she stands by her man, honey. She was standing by her man. She was not. And this is why I say I think the whole interview thing was rigged from the get-go, because she was smart enough not to talk to him without a lawyer. She said, no, thank you, not without my attorney. But Ben goes right on in there and confesses after, that is a setup. Anyway, so that's how they get married, or, they're together. That's their house.
Mm-hmm.
Collectively, that jail is.
That jail.
He gets sentenced. Now they recused, the judge recused, and they had a neighboring judge come in and sit on that case. But that doesn't mean nothing. They just do what the original judge wanted them to do. I can just imagine how that conversation goes in my head. Hey, judge, what do you want me to do with this case? Oh, well, this is what we'd like to see to happen. Okay, I got you.
Right.
You think that they're not having these conversations?
Right.
I would if it was my friend. If old Jenny recused herself and I was a coming in judge and she was my friend, I'd be like, hey, what do you want me to do with this? I mean, I'm just being honest.
It's just honest, yeah. Sure.
But so he gets sentenced to 6 months in his own jail. So he didn't have to go out to a neighboring county like everybody else did. He gets to serve it with his wife downstairs. They cleared out one of the drunk tanks. They didn't give him one of the regular mats that everybody else had. And nobody in that jail had a regular mat that had any padding in it anyway. All the padding had been stripped out of them all. So all they were giving people were just a plastic shell to lay on, to keep you off of the concrete. Right. That's it. He didn't live that way. He got an actual mattress brought in and put in his drunk tank. Okay. They put a big TV up on the screen, and they made him a trustee as soon as he got in there. Within the first week, he was a trustee status, which meant his door was never locked. Mm-hmm. He was allowed to come and go as he pleased. His wife could go in there. Yeah, he had cigarettes at the guard shack. His wife could go in there and lay down with him and sleep with him if she wanted to. Nobody would have said a thing about it.
It's like a hotel room.
Yeah, brothel.
Yeah.
I mean, Pillar's Dwarf hit the nail on that.
Yeah. And the one thing that, first of all, that's all absolutely ridiculous. But the one thing that really made me be like, excuse me, was the automatic trustee. Yeah. I don't think people understand how difficult of a process that is for a regular inmate to get to that status. And this guy who did what we just talked about like that.
The jailer, after my show started, because I know all these people.
Of course. That's why I wanted to talk to you, because you are boots on the ground.
I know them on a first name basis too.
Mm-hmm.
So this jailer messages me and is like, oh, I can't believe you'd say such a thing. Whatever I said on my show, he didn't like it. Yeah. He said, you're embarrassing me. And I said, you should be embarrassed.
You should be. I mean,
be embarrassed.
Yeah.
And he says, because I was going on about the Banfields thing, and he says, well, I take full responsibility. He said, I take full responsibility. That was my decision. He said, I made the decision. Now, this is his friend. mind you.
Mhm.
This is his friend that has done this. So he says, he's dependable. He's trustworthy. He's reliable. Why else? Why would I not make him a trustee?
Maybe because of what he was doing that got him into here.
God,
Hello.
how trustworthy is he, buddy? You know, and here's another thing. It came out in the depositions and everything.
Mhm.
To get that job as a court security officer, you have to go take a polygraph exam.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
He
that.
took the polygraph, but this just tells me that it's systemic. It's a systemic problem. It's a
Sure, yeah.
lot larger than just Mickey Stines and Banfield, because they knew what to do. Somebody had to tell him how to pass that. He didn't just go in and say, "Well, I'm going to confess and tell everything," and then not think that you're not going to get the job. Okay, but he goes in, tells everything. This is where it all came out, that he had sex with Angie because he had to tell the truth in the polygraph. This is where that information came from.
Good point.
So he tells that he had had sex on the job, that he had drank on the job. Nobody's ever
Whoa.
talked about that. Nobody ever brings up any of that.
Mhm.
So he confesses to all of this in his polygraph exam. What goes on top of the so what do they send to Mickey? They send Mickey, he passed his polygraph. But Mickey never, not one time, looked underneath the cover page
Mhm.
to see
Right.
what he passed,
Yeah.
because he didn't lie. But nobody cared about the questions that were asked in
Right.
this polygraph. So that shows me that that's a trick. It's a loophole that these people have figured out. As long as I go in there and confess to the misbehavior or the misconduct, and then if you the interviews, you listen to them.
Oh, absolutely. It was hard to without wanting to throw my computer across the room.
I told you, didn't I?
Oh,
I
you did.
told you.
And the interview, so
Ugh.
the interview, I know. The interview with Benfield, or not, I'm sorry, not Benfield's, with the victims. I don't remember which one. I'm sitting there listening to the officer interviewing them, and I'm like, why are you crafting your questions towards her as if she, oh, well, you chose to do this. You
Yes.
consented to do this. Excuse
Yes.
me? And correct me if I'm wrong, because I want to make sure I'm giving accurate information.
You are.
They're county property. You don't have consent.
That's right.
So what are you talking about? Oh, you chose to do this. You agreed to do this. Instead of being like, oh, this official in this official capacity engaged in this behavior. That should be the question. What did he do? What was he saying to you? Not victim blaming and being like, well, why would you even consider doing that? Excuse me?
You took the opportunity. Oh, so you saw an opportunity. This poor, dumb boy, country cornbread dummy, he flirts with you, and you saw an opportunity not to pay for your ankle monitor.
Right.
You took advantage of this poor, dumb, cornbread fed dummy.
Yeah.
Well, if he's that dumb, he don't need to be working in the courtroom. Number one.
In an official capacity.
And let me throw you something that's really going to shock your shoes off. What
Please.
you just said. Now the civil suit that is going through right now.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah. So they have dismissed Jennifer Hill's claims. She's gone. So the only one left is Sabrina Adkins. That's the only person that's left in this civil suit. and her claims barely survived. Barely survived. The judge, I have to send you that too, because judge gives his opinion on whether it should be hers should be dismissed, thrown out, or go forward. And he writes this big old long thing where he thinks that it should go to the jury, and the jury should decide if she gave consent or not. And you can see the mindset, not just in the culture of the people. You can see the same mindset in the judge that is over this case. And the same judge that sentenced Banfield is this in the criminal case is the same judge that is sitting over the civil case. And I'm not sure if it's the civil case with Ben and Sabrina, or if it's the civil case that just came out with Judge Mullins' wife suing Mickey and his deputies, because that civil suit just was filed like last week. The week before.
Now, but let me ask you this. Judge. Right. Yeah. Let me ask you something. Are they throwing out Jennifer Hill's claims because she passed?
No, they threw them out for statute of limitations. Wow. Here's my other get. Ned Pillersdorf was the attorney, right?
Right, representing Sabrina.
He was never the lead attorney, though. Bethany Baxter was the lead attorney, and I think she brought Ned in on it. Now, I can't speak for her. I've never spoken to her a day in my life. I have no idea. But I wonder, did she bring him on as name recognition and the fact that he practices in this region daily? So, maybe having those connections would help her. I don't know. But he comes on to the case, and it is sabotaged from the word jump.
Wow.
One of those interviews that I sent you, you can't even hear Sabrina giving her statement, because you've got Ned and the other detective sitting right there beside of him the whole time. That's all you can hear. It shows how serious they took it.
I know.
Right? It shows how serious they took it. But anyway, so Ned, he's supposed to be like a crack shot attorney, right?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the best of the best. I hired him myself. I've been a client of his, so I know how he is. He's a jerk. He's a jerk. I mean, he just is. Like, he stands about 5 foot tall, and he has about he has a Napoleon complex, like he talks to everybody, talks down to everybody. It's not just me. That's how he treats everybody, unless you're his friend or something, he might be nice to you. But the majority of the people that I've talked to that have had interactions with him came away with the same exact feelings that I did. He doesn't have a very good bedside manner. But I think that he controlled this case from the get-go, from the inside, because that was up to them to name the judge in that case, Judge Mullins, for his chambers. That was up to them to name the jail, the jailer, and Angie Fields. That was up to them to investigate. Well, not Ned personally, but it was up to them to make sure that this was investigated, that these crimes were investigated. They already had an investigation started, but they just did enough to get Ben to plead guilty to what little bit he did.
Right.
And then we're not going to, if as long as you can give us Ben on a silver platter and he pleads guilty, we won't go no further. We won't look into nobody else. I think that was one of those backroom deals.
Right.
Because at the same time, Ned was also representing our neighboring county's prosecutor, who had essayed men and women. Well, I don't know about women. He's gay. He's saying men. I know. And he was addicted to methamphetamine for the last 13 years, extorting drugs out of these defendants. I mean, this is like an organized crime syndicate that has come into our criminal justice system. You know,
It's infiltrated it. It's
infiltrated. That was the word I was looking for, honey. You so smart.
And just to tie off of what you just said.
Please, because I leave a lot of gaps.
Oh no, that's okay. No. And remember, I'm looking at this from the lens of somebody who doesn't live in Letcher County. I don't live in Kentucky. So I'm an outsider, if you will. And my knowledge goes as far as what I know. Being there, you living in that county, there was more victims than those two. And just because they filed those two on his little paper that he got charged with, he was assaulting way more people than just those two. It's Sabrina Atkins and Jennifer Hill that exploded this investigation off. But I bet that's one of the frustrations I've always observed from you and Taya, people that live in that county, is because there's more victims here. And it's not to take away anything from Sabrina or them. It's just, that's all that, they, like you said, they gave him enough and then they just wanted to forget about this and close it. But here's the problem with that. The internet exists. And if you don't want to investigate it, the internet will. And I'm not talking about conspiracy theory sleuth investigate. I'm talking about real people like you who are not going to take no for an answer and who are going to get answers. They're not going to ask for them. They're going to get answers. And that's one thing I think everybody appreciates about you, is you have a lot of grit and you're not going to back down from these officials. At the end of the day, this is public records. So this arrogance and this we're going to release stuff when we feel like it, that's not how this works. That's not how this works.
Now, but they were pretty successful at keeping this under wraps until Mickey shot Kevin. People didn't even know about Sabrina. I had never heard of it. I had never heard about Banfield and Sabrina Atkins.
Neither have I.
Even
Exactly.
Heard
That's
and
such
I
a good point.
Here. I live here, and I had never heard of it. Even though, and I know old Eagle Man would say, it was in the newspaper. Okay, well, I don't read your newspaper.
Ain't nobody read the newspaper. Come on.
Yeah, the way that information is gotten now has changed. That's exactly what set me up for my show. Just to kind of give you a little real brief.
Yeah, please tell the people.
I quit paying for cable. Used to everybody, you had to pay for cable.
Do people still pay for cable? I don't.
Well, I mean, I had Direct TV. That's what I'm saying. We are so far back in the dark ages in these mountains compared to what other people are out in the real world. We are the mountain that time forgot just about it.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, everybody was still paying for cable and, outrageous rates. It's a lot higher now than what it was when you could afford it. But I was like, they've got these Roku TVs now, like a real hillbilly, honey. And so I went and I got me a Roku TV. And I'd never used one before. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Technology's amazing once you know how to use it. It's not part of the culture here. People just aren't as modern with, I know it sounds ridiculous, even educated people. these lawyers and prosecutors and them down there. Well, she's monetized. She's monetized. You don't go watch her stuff. People just, and I was just as ignorant until I educated myself.
Mhm.
So I get this Roku TV, put it on the wall, and I said, well, I'm going to use my internet, and I'm just going to watch. And so I pulled up the YouTube app, and heck, I could watch whatever I wanted right there on YouTube.
Right there, as long as you
Wanted.
yeah.
Well, I'm a true crimer, so I'm drawn to true crime shows. I'm watching all this stuff, and I keep watching and watching and watching. And I'm like, man, how much money they're making on this stuff. I'm watching these lives, and the live chats, and I'm watching all these super chats and the super stickers, and, I'm just trying to figure it out, and I'm like, man, I can do what they're doing. And I know a lot more about it than most of these fools. I mean, it's just what I was thinking to myself.
Right, yeah. Sure.
And so I thought, okay. So I started watching how to start a YouTube channel, and I probably watched every one that they've made.
Yeah.
And I watched, and I just asked questions, and I watched videos from it. And I was working about 70 hours a week at the time, so I didn't have the time to really start it at that moment. But I was like, okay. So anyway, one day, but I'm planning, I'm researching and I'm planning. I got this idea going.
Oh, yeah.
One day I wake up to start work and none of my logins worked.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was like, So I called my boss and I'm like, hey, none of my stuff's working. And she was like, uh-oh. She was like, hang on, let me go check. She went and checked and she's like, yep. She said, they pulled you into one of these audits. They had like these random audits that every so often they would just pull people into these audits, and you can't work until that audit is over,
Oh,
completely over. There were 3 of us that from my company that got caught in that audit. And I was freaking out. I made good money. I was making really good money, but as an independent contractor, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was terrified. I was scared. Well, I go out the holler that day to go get my kids from school, and it was the first time I ever noticed the church sign at the mouth of the holler, and it said, trust God's timing. It's always perfect.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, God, I'm going to trust you. Okay. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to trust you. I'm going to start my channel now.
Awesome.
My boss, I found out the next day, my boss was going to pay us while we were off on that audit.
Oh,
So
wow, that's great.
nobody knew how long it was going to last, but it lasted for 8 months. During that 8 months, my boss paid me the whole time I was off, and it gave me the time. Started my channel on September 13th. September 19th, Mickey shot Kevin.
Oh my gosh.
6 days later, my channel went through the roof. That first
I would
month,
imagine.
I got monetized that very first month. But just because you're monetized doesn't mean you make any money.
Right.
It just means you have the opportunity to make money. But then you got to figure it out, right?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it took me 8 months. I've been on just a little over a year. But that 8 months that my boss paid me gave me the time to figure this out, where I didn't have to go running finding another job,
Yeah.
and have that stress on me. It gave me the opportunity to really put everything into this, all of my effort, and it's been trial and error. I had to learn. I knew I had to have $2,000 a month, minimum, bare minimum. I had to have $2,000 a month just to pay my bills, my monthly bills. That's not even eating. That's just bills. But I had to have that, and I had to figure out how to consistently make that every single month, because bills don't, they're just not a one-time
I wish they were.
application.
Right.
And I figured it out. I did a lot of videos, like regular videos like this,
Mhm.
and then where you go back and piecemeal it together or
Sure, yeah.
edit it, whatever you do, and then put it up. Well, I didn't make as much money on those as I did a live. When you do a live show, or at least when I do a live show, I make more money. When I go talking about other stuff, like if I do a show on Joe Blow down in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
my bank account don't like those shows. My bank account likes talking about the crisis here in Appalachia.
Right. Yeah.
Some people don't like that, but I'm sorry. You know, it's going where I make $200 a video versus $13 a video. You know,
Yeah. Right.
I'm sorry if you don't want to hear about the judge, but you know, I
Well,
gotta keep the lights on this month.
let me tell you something. Let me just interject here real quick. I've watched plenty of coverage on the judge. Nobody's covering it like you are.
No.
And
Mm-hmm.
just when you think this case doesn't have anything else to
Offer.
let me tell you this much. I know when I see you pop up on YouTube, I'm clicking because I got to know what's going on with this case. So, but thank you for sharing that
Yeah.
testimony. That's amazing. And everybody please go subscribe to Hillbilly Crime. We'll post the link down in the description. So let's, we talked about Ben. Let's talk about Mickey for a second. What's been going on with Mickey?
Well, you know, Mickey was always seen as laid back, you know, boy next door. Right after the shooting happened, there was so much blind support for him that nobody cared what he did. Nobody cared that he shot Judge Mullins.
I know,
If he did it, then he had to have had a good reason, and the judge deserved it. I mean, that's just the climate, the mentality of this area.
Yeah.
But you got to remember the judge's brother-in-law was just appointed. See those signs at the bottom of his desk there, the blue sign, it says Matt Butler.
Oh, okay.
That was when, because see, at that time he was running for. See, I can't see if that one. In that election, he had originally started out running for judge executive. This is why I think all of this was planned and put in place before.
Yeah, talk about it.
He originally was running as judge executive. Well, what does the judge executive do? He's a lawyer. He's a licensed practicing attorney.
Sure.
Criminal law, criminal and civil, honestly. But he was running for a judge executive election. They only handle the county money. It's only the county's finances and, like roads, the road department and, the finance stuff for the county.
Absolutely, yeah.
A judge executive, I know it says judge, but it has absolutely nothing to do with a criminal court or a civil court. But a lot of people don't know that. But why would he run for that position? Well, here's why I think he was running for it. Because he is also the one who gets to choose Mickey's replacement as sheriff. Mickey was planning on retiring because that was their out of the lawsuit, which is exactly what happened only after the shooting. And now Mickey don't run off and ride off into the sunset.
Wow.
At the end,
Yeah, yeah.
But why? And so he runs for judge executive, and then out of the blue, he gets appointed to the Commonwealth attorney position upstairs in Judge Jimmy Kraft's court. So that whole election there, all those signs and stuff just went out the window because he ended up getting appointed for a different position. But that tells me as soon as I kind of put all that together, I couldn't figure out why he would be running for that job. I mean, it's got a real good payday, about $100 grand a year, 120,000 a year, and all of those elected positions come with salaries in that range, while everybody else is struggling to live on 20,000 a year here.
Of course, yeah.
You know,
Right.
it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. Where's all that money going?
Right. Yeah. And I bet, and you can speak to this because you live there, but it wasn't just like we said before, the shooting, obviously, that happening the way it did was like, whoa, what's going on? But then you have people starting to talk about this alleged sex ring scandal. But the people that live there are like, this has been going on. This isn't, and I know you have been, what's you're saying? You've been screaming it from the rooftops.
Yeah.
Because you have, and people that live there have, like, this is going on. I think the problem is, like, who are you going to report it to? Because the higher ups and the judge are more than likely involved in this. And you have people, and obviously this conversation is alleged, but victim, because I think sometimes people are struggling to quickly jump to, accusing somebody without bringing receipts or without bringing proof I should say it that way. Just because people aren't showing their proof doesn't mean it's not there.
That's right. Doesn't mean it didn't happen.
And I remember this was probably a couple months ago or maybe a little less, but Taya has been speaking out about her experience. For those who don't know Taya, she is a victim, allegedly victimized by Judge Mullins. And she talks about her story. She did an interview with Brian Entin from NewsNation. And I'll tell you what, when I was watching that interview, I was driving to work at the time and I almost crashed because I'm listening to her speak about this stuff. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what'd you just say was in the room? Like, she's talking, oh my goodness. If you guys haven't seen that interview, you got to go check that interview out because she really blew the lid off on this even more than it already was. And, I'm sure Taya has gotten nasty messages from people. Oh, you're making this up. Oh, you're an addict.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. It's her story. And, people can say whatever. Let me tell you something. She has proof.
She's a survivor.
She's a survivor. And things, whether you think she's lying or not, she is recounting things. And first of all, I can't imagine how difficult that is to talk about that. She's so brave every time she talks and she goes on these interviews. I mean, she's really putting herself out there, and that is not easy to do, especially when you're having to relive that mentally and emotionally. But she's doing it anyway, and I think she's very strong for that because she's taking a risk. I mean, these are big wigs, as you would say. These are higher ups. I mean,
she's on parole too till 2099,
which is so wrong.
For child support.
Wrong. And I would love to have Taya on sometime to just have her share her story because, man, and it's not just her that has been taken advantage of. There's tons of women.
She's one of many.
She's one of many. And
her story, her story is even, it's one of many here too. She was court ordered now to take Suboxone, what I take every day to have the wonderful quality of life that I have today. I've took it for 15 years now. She was court ordered to take it. This was back when, the stigma was a lot worse back then than it is now. But still, yet she was court ordered to take it. She's pregnant, has her baby, and they come take her baby from her at the hospital as soon as she has it, and she never raised her baby. She had her child stolen out of her arms, out of the hospital, because she had Suboxone in her system.
I think I remember that.
Court ordered her.
Right.
They stole her child. We're getting ready to do a lot of shows on CPS.
Needs to be.
Yes. Now that was how they tried to come after me in 2018. I had let my son ride his bicycle down to the fire department, which was at the mouth of our holler, and he ended up going to our neighbor's house after he left the thing, instead of coming home like he was supposed to, and I couldn't find him. And the more people you ask, have you seen my child, the more people start looking for your child.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a nightmare. We finally found him. He was right next door to my house, only they had a really crazy driveway. And so we all kept thinking, he ain't up there. He ain't the one place we didn't look. And that's where he was at.
Always right under your nose.
Always. Oh, honey, they charged me. They indicted me on wanton endangerment, child abuse and neglect, you name it, all because I called them out. I told them what they were attacking me and just talking awful to me and just being horrible. And I saw what was coming, like they were wanting to make an example out of me, how dare I was a piece of shit mom, da, 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 da. Honey, I have done amazing. I'll pat myself on the back. We ain't got a whole lot, but my kids are good kids, honey. I'll give praise the Lord. I've got good kids, and I'm a good mom.
Yeah.
I'll give myself that props, man. I don't like to pat myself on the back, but
no, I hear it. Yeah,
I've done really good with my kids, and I'm proud of that. And so for them to do that, to come at me with the one thing in my life that, I'll battle to the death for, and they picked the wrong one too, because that was the case that I had to go hire Ned Pillersdorf on.
I wish we had a picture of Ned here.
I'll send you some. I'll send you some more stuff so you have plenty in your library.
Did you? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll ask you that.
Well, I was just going to say the first thing that he said to me was, "What'd you do? Who'd you piss off?" I was like, "What? To be something that I did?"
Right.
I mean, yeah, I did tell them they weren't, this was not how you treat the mother of a missing child. You need some training. Those kinds of things I said to them, but that pissed them off and it hurt their egos. And they were, they knew that I had just graduated 4 days. I had just walked across the stage 4 days before this happened, magna cum laude, with my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And they knew, and I was applying for jobs down there at the time. They knew I was.
Wow.
They were going to destroy my career before it ever even began. And I was blacklisted. I never, not one time was I ever able to use my education or my experience in Letcher County.
Wow.
And I have a master's degree now. I didn't just stop with that. I continued on and got my master's degree. Still never been able to use it. And every time I'd get a degree, I thought, okay, now they'll accept me. And that was the whole point for me going to school in the first place. I wanted them to accept me.
Yeah.
I wanted them to accept my knowledge and my experience and my wisdom that the Lord had given me. And they just mocked me, laughed at me, pushed me out the door. And so I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go back and I'll be back. And I went back and got my law enforcement degree. Well, that laughed them out of, So I said, I'll be back. I went and got my bachelor's. I came back with it, all proud, and they were like,
Yeah.
go on. So
Wow.
they left me. I left crying every single time.
That's
I left
wrong.
crying every time. I went and got the master's, come back. They still did it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go get my PhD then. Let's see you laugh then. God said, no, Elizabeth, you're done. You're done.
Wow.
You don't need that PhD because they're not going to accept that either.
Well, look at you now.
Well, and that was when I kind of said, okay, Lord, and I just let it all go. I was like, okay. And I went and I did something completely different. I went and got my insurance license and did the insurance that I'd never even had to have my degrees for.
Wow. There you go.
Until this.
Yep. Look at you now. Well, thank you for sharing that. But Taya, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, I would love to have her on just to.
I'll set that up.
Yeah, that would be great. Taya is so, from the stuff that I've watched her speak about, I mean, like she's awesome. Taya is awesome. And what she's doing is, like I said before, difficult. I can't even speak on how difficult. I have no perspective on that, so I'm not going to pretend to. But what I can say is, I can witness her bravery, and she's really awesome. And you know,
doing a really needed thing too, because nobody else is brave enough and strong enough to withstand the criticism that comes at her every single time she speaks out. She still gets up the next day instead of crawling underneath and pulling the blanket up over her head and saying, I don't want to face it today. She don't do that. She gets up every day, puts her feet on the ground, honey, and she's getting in her fighting stance, baby, and we needed her.
Yeah.
Each one of these women, even me, I have a role too, but every single one of these women have served a role and a purpose. And I don't know how much faith plays a part in your life, but in ours, I know in mine and hers too, I think I can safely speak for her on that. We have been able to see how God has used us in a specific purpose that he needed to be able to bring all of this about. Each one of them's different. We serve different role for a different, but it's all for the same purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. Absolutely. And I can, I can totally understand that. Because, and I remember when she said that in her interview with Brian's sitting there taking this all in, like all the rest of us. And he's like, wait, what happened to you? And, I like Brian. He did a great job with that interview, but you can tell that he was like trying to process all of that. Like, this is insane. What has happened to you? And Taya was just like, God's got this, like.
Well, it's almost as if people just push right past it.
I know.
Like what you were trying to say there. It shocks people. Like her very first appearance, she was pretty raw. She used cuss words and she was kind of like bam in everybody's face with all of this. And it was kind of like shocking to people. But you got to remember where she come from. She come up out of that Letcher County jail. She was in that jail cell down there for 3 years of her life or 5 years of her life. Then she goes off to prison. She's expendable. She's one of the people, not just her, everybody like her. They're expendable. You know, they're just a body that can fill the number in the jail. You know, like if it was their daughter isn't gonna lay her precious little head in that nasty jail cell.
Of course not.
They would move heaven and earth to make sure that they got her out of, on bond. She wouldn't serve one night.
Nope.
Not 1 hour would her head lay in that nasty floor. But it's okay for Tyas.
Right.
Taya can do it. I can do it. Little Jess can do it. They'll put every one of us in there and not think twice about us, make us suck a big pecker to get out of there.
It's just,
Yeah. It's disgusting.
It is.
But I want to see one of their, and maybe this is where I need to pray. Where I need to pray for some forgiveness, because I want to see one of their kids in there. I do. I want to see one of them in there. But more importantly, I want to see one of their kids in there. I want to see their daughter in there.
See how quick you move them out of there.
I do. I want to see one of them's daughter in that jail and see how quick they are to dismiss that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? What makes Taya so much less than?
Right.
Than their wife or kid. Because she ain't. She ain't no less special. She ain't no less important. She ain't no less loved.
Right. Absolutely.
But, I don't, there's a lot of things that is just kind of my hang up. I'm not perfect. I struggle.
Nobody is.
I struggle coming to terms with a lot of this stuff myself. I thought that I had healed. I thought that God had healed a lot of those broken places in me. I guess the broken places he did heal. What he's healed, I'll never be completely healed. But I guess the things that he's healing in me now, or at least I'm asking for him to, and I know he will, and they're lessons that I'm learning. It's compassion, I guess, maybe. Like, I'm a victim's advocate. Like, I'm the first one. I'll have your back. Let me, what can I do to help?
Right.
But on the other side of that coin, the poor, pitiful me mentality and that kind of thing, I don't have time for it. I don't have a bit of ounce of empathy or compassion for it. I've been there. I've done the poor, pitiful me. Still, sometimes I get caught in it myself now. But I feel like, I don't know. So many of us have been sexually abused over the years, and so many of us are survivors of domestic violence, that when I hear somebody come crying over something that, we went through when we were 13.
Yeah.
Don't come at me. I don't want to hear that. Pull your big girl panties on, honey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Hard time with that. Like with Lila Stines when she did her video last night.
I saw that. Yeah. This is Sheriff Mickey Stine's daughter, for those who don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
It just surprised me.
I know. I saw that. I was like, oh, wow. She broke her silence.
And what she decided to say, though, surprised me.
Didn't she attack?
You stayed quiet this whole time. Well, I felt like it was towards me.
Oh. Wow.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe. I mean, and didn't she say something about people making it entertainment or making videos? Making an income. That's what it was.
That we were taking her pain and making it our pleasure. She didn't say my name or anything, but
right.
And then I said to my friend, I was like, it's awful vain of me to think that it would be about me. And she was like, oh, no, that was to you. I was like, okay, well, at least I'm not crazy to think that. Well, and she's like, no, that was to you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. I would think that it's extremely, I can't even imagine what she's processed. Is she 18?
She just turned 18.
Just turned 18.
But here's the thing. This is a national news. This is a worldwide.
National, yeah, absolutely.
It's not just national. It's a worldwide.
Global.
Yeah, global. That's a great word.
Yeah.
But and I never expected any of them to support me personally. They never did when I was trying to get a job, 10 years ago. There wasn't nobody trying to help me. They all made me an enemy of theirs a long time ago. And I didn't make them my enemy. They weren't never my enemy. They made me theirs a long time ago because I was trying to advocate for medically assisted treatment. And I was saying things that they didn't want no part of. They didn't like the things that I was saying, even though I was right. And even though now they're saying what I was saying
in the first place, yeah.
But they still have that. They just carry, it's like a mean girl thing, like creators. And let me just relate that to our creators. Like me and Gavin have kind of established this really, really great working relationship. And one of the things that we do is we share documents, like public records documents and stuff.
Like
well, we got to talking. Yes, we got to talking. And, there's a lot of creators in the space that fight. And they're like at each other's throats all the time. Well, that was my scoop. And that was my story. And I bought those public records. And da-da-da-da. Come on. And we're not like that. We don't get down like that. We all share, like here. So there's another creator, and his name is Tabiz. I don't know if you have seen.
I saw some of his stuff, yeah.
Well, he has put together I sent it to you, didn't I?
Was that the fold? Yeah.
Folder.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's
amazing
his
content.
folder. Yes. But that's his folder. He put all that together, and he lets us use that because that was the idea that I was trying to get behind. We need a space that has all of these public records documents, and we can add stuff to it ourselves. Yeah, like if we get a video from somebody, we're not going to be getting it out of no public records request or off the internet. We're going to be getting it from a source. Well, we can put that in there into that folder, and everybody would have access to it. Everybody that's in our little creator group, right? Everybody has access. You use what you want of it. You don't have to ask nobody's permission.
Right.
These are public records,
Right.
We're just helping each other. And, one person might have some insight that another one doesn't have, or vice versa. And like this, collaboration on our videos. Yeah. Now that we've all got StreamYard, so we can simulcast our shows. Whenever this you do a live, you can simulcast. It'll be streamed to yours, and it'll be streamed to mine at the same time. And once you're monetized, you make your money off of yours, and I make my money off mine. And it's just a wonderful working relationship.
Everybody gets to eat.
Yes, and that's the same kind of premise that we feel as women here in Letcher County, supporting each other. What surprised me last night was the third video of Lila's that she put up, and she was like, "This is my friend Ashley Blair."
Well, the private investigator.
Well, she was talking about the private investigator. Ashley Blair, her father was murdered, and she has been on her father's case, but she doesn't really talk about any other cases. She's just about her dad's case. Right?
Sure.
And Joel Cotton is Mickey Stines, is the private investigator that is working for Mickey Stines and his attorneys.
That's where I recognize his name.
Yes.
Thank you for connecting that dot in my head. I was like,
where do I know him
from?
Boom. Yeah. So that's who he is.
Interesting.
Now, he has been here several times over the last year. But don't get it twisted. The Bartleys are representing Mickey Stines in this murder case.
Right.
Their job and their goal is to represent Mickey Stines in this murder case.
Yeah.
Their job, Joel Cotton's job, is not, he's not a cop. He's not a police officer. He's no member of law enforcement. And whatever information that he is digging up and coming up with, they're just hoarding it, and using it what applies for their case. But that information that he's coming up with, he's not putting it out anywhere. Who's he putting it out to?
Right,
I don't know any news or YouTube or true crime or any. That information is not going anywhere.
Right.
And so for her to be like, this is my friend Ashley and Joel Cotton, if you have any information on the corruption, you mean the corruption that your daddy has been one of the lead actors in? Are you joking? It just blew me away. It blew me away. Here I have been doing this all year locally.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody's calling me. Everybody's sending their stuff to me, which, it doesn't have to be me. It could be anybody else. Don't look at me. This ain't got nothing to do with me,
You're the head of the snake on this. So that's why people are sending you stuff, because
I put it out.
Yeah,
I'm not hiding
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
I'm telling it.
Right.
So why are you sending stuff? Why are you going to send something to somebody who's just going to take it and keep it?
And hoard it, yeah.
And they're not using it. Now if he's giving it to the FBI or if he's giving it to some kind of other investigator, I don't know. But he's not a member of law enforcement. And honestly, the way that everybody else has been trying to give their information to the FBI or trying to give it to somebody who will do something with it, who? Because you ain't going to give it to nobody that they ain't already give it to.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was kind of I think it was a strategic slap in my face. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I can see it that way.
It's not unreasonable.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. But also, I when I was 18, sometimes I should have put my foot in my mouth.
Yeah. That was. Well, I don't think that this is just a 17, 18-year-old girl in her bedroom by herself, and she just decided to do that.
No.
She's not done a video. She's not spoke or anything in the last year about, relating to any of this. And then all of a sudden she does 3 back-to-back.
I know. I saw. Yeah. I don't think I saw the third one. I did see the first 2, but that third one you were talking about with the private investigator, I didn't see that one.
Okay.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
This is a question I've always had, and it may not be a simple answer, but do you think Mickey, I think he knew about this stuff going on, but
absolutely.
How can you not? Like this, and I'm not saying that, I guess what I'm asking is, are we speculating that he had any participation?
Yeah. Yep.
Really?
As hard as what it is to believe. Yeah. I think we are trained. I think our brains are just kind of trained to want to believe the best about people. To want to believe the good about people. And I think that was one of the reasons why everybody jumped to that blind loyalty behind Mickey Stines right after the shooting.
Right out the gate, yeah.
Because everybody wanted to believe the best, believe if he did this, then he had a good reason,
Yeah.
He didn't just do this for no reason. Well, so you have the reputation of the judge that kind of leads into that. He's already got a reputation for liking young girls, and you've got Mickey so focused and insanely obsessed with, I've got to talk to my daughter, my daughter, my daughter, my daughter.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of seems weird anyway. Like,
Right? Yeah.
what kind of relationship do you really even have with your daughter? Like, this seems kind of weird.
Right.
No judgy or nothing. It just seems weird. I can't put my finger on what is weird about it, but there's something definitely weird. So, but I think we want to believe the best about them. And so I think that's what kind of jumped to the judge, was having sexual relations with his daughter, because I think people just wanted to believe that it would have to be something like that
Yeah.
would cause you to shoot this man
Why?
9 times.
Right. Because why else?
Okay. Right. Exactly. Why else? So,
And that
after
sorry to
this-
interrupt, but that
no, go ahead.
rumor has been debunked, right?
Yes.
The Judge Kevin Mullins allegedly having some inappropriate relationship with the sheriff's daughter. That for a while was, hey, this is probably his motive, but that has since been debunked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, continue.
But
I just wanted to make sure I got that.
But that daughter that did the videos these last couple of days, that's her.
Right,
That's
that's
the
her.
same
Yeah,
daughter.
yeah,
And the first time that you speak, you don't come out and say, and she's like, it had nothing to do with this. It was what they're saying. Well, that is what this case is. That was,
Hello.
I don't know how you separate the two.
You can't.
You can't.
You can't.
So, you just cannot separate the two. Anyway, so after all of this happened, everybody was kind of, Mickey's the hero, da da da. Well, then this lady reaches out to me. She grew up right next door to Mickey Stines. I mean, maybe not right next door, but within a couple blocks radius. Okay,
Mhm.
they grew up very close to one another, and the geography here is like, with the camp houses, it's just house after house after house after house, and they're all exactly the same. Like, the layout of the homes
Right.
were exactly the same. They were just built like little camp houses. Like, if you go to a camp in the summer, if you go to summer camp or whatever,
Mhm.
just little camp houses that are just lined up in a line. And a lot of those are just how people live here. She lived next to him growing up. After she became an adult, she left here and went off, moved to Tennessee and became a nurse, went off to have a great life. But her son still lived here. He got a DUI. She comes in to go to court with her son. Mickey was Judge Mullins's bailiff at that time.
Right. Yeah.
He recognizes her in the courtroom. And and they're like, she says, I leave. As soon as I got out the door, the courtroom door, he's messaging me on Messenger, Facebook Messenger. So what it was designed for, and he's like, hey, man, I've seen you in years. Oh my God, you look great. Da, 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 da. And she's like, that was the beginning of it.
Ooh.
She said he started flirting with her and going on.
And he's married at this time.
Yes.
Oof.
Honey, he'd been married to Caroline for 20 years.
Ooh.
And so they're going, she said he just messaging, flirting. Well, then I guess they kind of died off for a while, and she said he ends up coming to Tennessee,
Mhm.
which now he's got him a lake house down there. It's a little lake trailer, but still.
Yeah.
It's a lake house. So they go down for Rod Run, which is like a car thing that they have it's a big event that they have in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. They come down there for that, and apparently she lives down in that area somewhere. And she said the messages started at Rod Run. And she said, next thing I know, she said, he's sending me an unsolicited pecker pic.
Oh.
She said, I didn't ask him for that. She said, I swear, Elizabeth, I did not ask him
Yikes.
to send me that picture.
Oh,
She said,
man.
I was just mortified. She said, and I know I've been the recipient of those before,
Oof.
and you don't really know what to say. You know, you're like,
The last time I talked to you. Like, all right.
well, but it's usually somebody that, like the one person that I'm thinking of, it's somebody that you're trying to get a job with, or it's somebody that you're trying, you know, can you help me get my foot in the door over here for this job? That was the one that I would always get. You know, I was always trying to, they were wanting to be, I was trying to be one of the cool kids.
Right. You're trying to get your foot in the door, and
I wanted to be in that in circle. So
yeah. Well,
thank God. We just don't know what God protects us from sometimes.
I know. I was gonna say, like, it's a good thing you didn't, because good Lord, what has transpired?
But anyway, so yeah, I think Mickey, I've been told by many people that Mickey taught, or where their exact words are, where do you think Ben learned
Ooh.
what Ben did?
And that's like you said, your brain doesn't want to go there. You want to, it wants to go to like, no, Mickey didn't.
Oh, he's a big, fat, jolly, you know, teddy bear looking guy.
Right.
You know, I'm sure he probably wasn't. And he was very self-deprecating. Like they made fun of themselves all the time and how they looked and being overweight, and like in the discovery of Ben's criminal case, they pulled his Facebook Messenger stuff.
I think that's in that thing you sent me, and all
It
those
is.
messages. Yeah. I was going through some of those, and I was like, wow, yikes.
Shows you that's their work chat.
That
was
insane.
Their work chat. Every single deputy on that sheriff's department, unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure every single one of them were included in that chat group, because if you read down through there long enough, you can see an entry for every single deputy that was, you know, so they had to have had access to that chat to be able to comment, you know.
Yeah.
Even though they may not all have been participating back and forth, they were still seeing it.
Right.
Even if they weren't actively involved in that specific conversation, they were still seeing it. And then later on, they are in it, you know, in their own way, in a different conversation, but it's still all in that same chat.
The same one. And I know that may be a silly question to be like, did Mickey know about this? It's just, this case is so crazy because it's not a whodunit case, because it's on camera. And on top of that, there's no audio. And that's always been, it's so frustrating. I'm like, I want the audio to that video.
Do you know any lip readers?
I wish I did.
Or anybody that was deaf?
I don't.
I reached out. Somebody had sent me an email and said, this lady is a deaf lip reader. And so I sent her an email, but she never responded.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, they're just talking here. And it's, yeah, go ahead.
Something else too that will be a good resource for you is R&M Productions. R&M Productions have taken, they do all kinds of different cases, not just this one, but on this case, they have taken every single piece of video. They've put it in chronological order. In one video, they've got several different videos. So you just kind of look through their playlist if you want to, and see, but they have put every single piece together. I'm actually thinking, I think I might reach out to her again and see, because they're a lot techier than I am. I don't
Right.
have the skills like
It's
they
okay.
do.
I mean,
They
yeah.
got great editing skills. But if we could blow up that, like right on Kevin's face,
Oh,
if I
yeah.
could if I could blow that up,
Right.
for the whole thing,
For
like
the
for
whole thing.
for each one of the videos that show him, if we could get it blew up, to see his face where we could actually see his lips, honey, I'm pretty dang good myself.
Yeah.
But I just have to be able to see it. I
To
can't
get
see
it. Yeah. You need that right in front of you.
So if you know anybody,
I
or if you
don't, but
could
if I ever come across someone, you'll be the first to know.
yeah,
And I just want people to understand too, watching, like, again, I'm not from Kentucky, Letcher County. The smoking in there, you're not
Oh,
supposed
yeah.
to be smoking in a government building. Like, this is just like a hangout. This is like a locker room, like smoking in the judge's chambers, smoking in the courthouse. Like, oh yeah, like come in here, do this nefarious act. What is going on? This is not normal. Or maybe it is, and it's just, maybe it is normal, but this case has maybe given people like, hey, this happens other places, because I'm sure it happens other places, but my gosh, like,
I think that's one of the biggest things that I have learned from all of this is that this isn't just happening in Letcher County.
oh yeah,
The sexual abuse
yeah,
that is happening
the exploitation,
is,
yes,
and the exploitation of government funds. The federal funding is being exploited.
yeah,
And that's something that nobody is talking about. I'm getting ready to, I mean, I've been trying, but I'm getting ready to come at it hardcore.
yeah. And
You know,
just so everyone knows, Elizabeth and I were talking before we went live. She's perfectly fine. She's not. So if she goes missing or we go missing because we start talking, no, we are perfectly sound mind and body good. So they try to spin it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, they were really going off the deep end. No. Because they will try that.
Oh, honey, this is the beginning. We are just at the beginning of a revolution. I see it coming. I see so much getting ready. And I mean, I don't know how it's going to happen, but, my faith says that in the last days, sons and daughters will prophesy. And I see things. The Lord is going to pour out his spirit upon all flesh. And I swear, I feel like I can see it happening right before my very eyes.
Yeah.
Just the way that I feel like God is bringing about to expose all this evil.
Yeah.
You just think of these few little stories that we've gotten just a tiny little taste of and how disgusted we are with it. Imagine being God and him sitting up there and having the view that he's had at all of the evil. And I mean, we can go worldwide, but more specific to us, just right here in Letcher County.
Yeah.
Or the surrounding, eastern Kentucky. The evil that these politicians and preachers, everybody wants a 501c3 status. And to get that nonprofit status, you got to have a preacher. So it seems like every one of these little groups has got him a preacher. And these preachers, you've got one who's up to all of this sexual stuff to his eyeballs in the courthouse, Michael Clark.
Yeah.
He's one of those that was in the video. I've been
Oh, yeah.
very, very critical of
I
him.
know you have.
Then there's another one that just got on my radar the other night, Preacher Burns. Now, he ain't got nothing to do with this case that I know of, but we got a video of him ramming a vehicle of like 5 women, rammed them 4 or 5 times from the rear end at night, terrorized them, absolutely terrified them. They all had to go to the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
And he's a preacher, and then Rexy's vehicle in Whitesburg, Rexy's vehicle into an embankment after he rams these women. And then Matt Butler, Judge Mullins' brother-in-law, now prosecutor now, he gives him a DUI. He dismisses all the wanton endangerment charges, and the fella just got a DUI. So we're kind of looking, why? Why did you do that for that guy when we've got a video that I showed on my show and on my Facebook? Why do we have a prosecutor that's playing defense attorney?
Right.
For his own defendants.
Right.
For people that are preachers and whatnot. But people like you or me, you know, they're going to send up. Why didn't they send this guy to ARC? Why didn't they send him to rehab?
Yeah. And for those who don't know, ARC is the rehab. A bunch of funny stuff going on over there too. I almost said. And that's the thing, you know, like what I learned a lot from you is like, this goes so far beyond the courthouse. Oh my, it's the rehab center. It's the sheriff's department. It's the county jail. It's the courthouse. And it's all in this, like, in that, you know, when you take a step back and you look at it, you're like, who do these victims report this to? Because if you're going to go to the state police, oh, I think they're involved too. Yeah. And, you know, it makes you wonder, like, why has the FBI not gotten involved?
Because I think it's the feds were the ones that charged this neighboring prosecutor, the one that Ned Pillersdorf was the defense attorney on.
Oh, that's right. That was a federal case. Thank you for reminding me on that.
Your feds are just as involved as your state boys are. And with Banfield, whenever Mickey was told that there was a civil suit filed, the criminal investigation had not been initiated yet. A reporter out of Lexington calls the sheriff's department and asks Mickey for a comment on the filing of that civil suit. Yeah. That was how he found out about the civil suit. He didn't know about it before. After he gets off that phone call, allegedly, he says he called the state police and said, I need an investigation on one of my deputies. There's some accusations that are being made. There's a civil suit. And the state cops say, no, sorry, we're too close to you. We can't do that investigation. We work with you every day.
Wow.
So how come the same state cops that declined to investigate Banfield are now investigating Judge Mullins' murder?
Come on.
That makes any sense. Make it make sense.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be me. Yeah, and that's why, you know, I wanted to have you on, and I love talking to you because this case has so much information. You can't keep up with all of it because as soon as you peel a layer back, there's 4 more. Yeah. And then inside those, it's like, so thank you for refreshing my memory on that. That's the way the feds got involved in the first place. Mm-hmm. So when you have that question, like, well, why didn't the FBI get involved? Oh, they did. And look where that ended up. It really seemed like they were like, you know what, let's just throw that out because he got convicted, Banfield that is. So, you know, this is done. It's like, no, there is more than just Banfield involved.
Mm-hmm. And the only way this is going to come out are people like me and you tell it.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is going to tell it. These big networks, they're not going to tell it until it's circulated enough that then their lawyers say, okay, now you can report on it.
Right. And I get that, they have to protect, future lawsuits. But like you said, that's why. So are victims supposed to wait until you iron your kinks out? Come on.
Right.
Like
And people are not going to come forward. Like,
Exactly.
why would anybody come forward now? And of all times, if they were going to come forward, they would have been better off coming forward, like when Taya did and them. But now everybody has seen that even if they do come forward, nothing's going to happen. So
Right.
if you do tell it, then now their kids are going to know, and their kids didn't know probably.
That's
So
a good
now their
point.
kids
That's
are
a
going to.
good point.
And if they were assaulted or coerced, and their husband don't know.
Yeah.
How
that's
many
so
do you
true.
think would be open enough to tell it to their spouse? Because I wouldn't.
That is such a good point that I didn't really think of. Yeah, why would they potentially risk
Destroy.
throwing that out over
They destroy
something?
lives.
Yeah, that's such a good point because and I've heard that a lot too. Oh, why aren't other people speaking out? Why is it just Taya? Well, other people are speaking out. They just may not be going on camera.
Right.
They might not be going on the microphone, but they're speaking out. They're sending stuff. They're compiling their evidence. And that's another thing. The victims, and I learned this from Taya, like people have evidence. They're not going to show it or give it up because think about that. As soon as they give it up, oh, you can't use that in court.
Or it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, it could be gone completely. Exactly. We don't know what happened to it. So, yeah, I understand that completely. And
perfect example is Sabrina and Jennifer Hill. Both are recorded in their statements saying that they went into the jail. Ben came and arrested them or got them, whatever, took them to jail. Whenever they were put in, their property was taken from them, which included their phone. Whenever they got out of jail, and who was over their property but his wife, Angie Fields. And so then whenever they got out of jail, guess what? Their phone was gone. Their phone just mysteriously vanished. So they were also stealing any kind of evidence.
Yes.
Whenever they arrested them, like the levels of cover up on all of this, it's set like I know you've heard the cover up is worse than the crime.
Yeah.
Well, look at what all they've done to keep all of this quiet. And I guarantee you, Ben, he got something to keep his mouth shut. No way, even if it was a threat to his life.
Right.
I guarantee you, Ben is
Absolutely.
where all the answers are.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody could ever get him to talk,
man,
anybody that talks is opening themselves up to charges. That's why nobody is talking. Somebody kept trying to push me to somebody else. Oh, they've got the evidence. Well, they've got it. I can't talk to you myself. And they just, I don't know, they just kept acting real weird. And I was like, what's up with this guy? He's a politician too. And I was like, what's up with this guy? Why is he, getting such cold feet to talk to me? Like, I ain't doing nothing bad. I'm just telling the truth,
Right.
You should never be scared to talk to me. And he said, because he's terrified. Once you start digging, if he gives you this little information on this one and you start digging, you're going to tie it all back to him.
True. Yeah.
They're all in it up to their eyeballs. And if they tell on one, it's all going to lead you right back to them.
Yeah.
You see,
Exactly.
like everybody's got something on each other. So nobody can really tell without exposing themselves.
Right. That's why nobody's talking. Well, we're talking. And just because they don't want to lay it out for everyone to see doesn't mean we're not going to go digging for it. I know that much.
And we'll lay it out, won't we, honey?
Yep. I guess we'll close it with this. I mean, why do you think he did it? Why? Because like I said before, this is not a whodunit. It's on camera. So why? Like what? Why?
Well, it's down between. I'm a professional waffler too. One day I'll think one thing, and the next day I might think something else.
That's okay. That's okay.
But I think it's down to like two options for me. One, the threats had gotten to, had scared him and gotten him very paranoid. I can understand that to a certain extent just from like my show.
Yeah.
The kinds of fear that like somebody's out to get you, somebody's going to get you. That fear is kind of all consuming.
Yeah.
When you feel like you've got to look over every shoulder and you don't know if there's a sniper behind a tree up there or,
that's so true. Yeah.
If I was terrified just to walk in my kitchen. I didn't have a curtain up over my window for months, but there's no houses or anything. It's just a mountain back here. But still at night, when I can't see out that window, not having a curtain on my window, it scared me. I was afraid to walk in there. I was afraid somebody'd be out here on this mountain with a rifle.
Yeah.
And so I can see how easy it would be, to get a little, but see that right there. I'm glad you pulled that up, honey. That's a really good visual there. I don't think he looks scared.
No.
I think he looks pissed.
He don't look scared.
And the judge started to get up whenever he was walking around there, and Mickey pointed and said, "Sit back down." But then again, put yourself in the judge's shoes.
Right.
As soon as I saw him unholster that gun and he got close enough to me, I would have charged him right then. I'm not going to sit there and let you shoot me.
Right.
I'm going to fight you. You might shoot me. You might kill me. But I'm going to fight to live, I'm going to fight you.
Yeah.
And I think if he had responded that way, nobody ever unholsters a gun like that for no intention. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody ever does that to you, you better be making a plan.
Absolutely. I just want to...
Don't take for granted they're just going to hold it.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to maximize this real quick so we can see the judge's body language here. Like, he just looks relaxed.
He looks shocked.
The gun's out right now.
Yeah, well, he just pulled it.
Yeah, he just pulled it.
You can see the look in Kevin's eyes. He's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. And, some backstory here too, for those who don't know, and I didn't know this until watching your channel. Before he was the sheriff, he was the judge's bailiff. So what was it for 10 years? Yeah, so that's a long time.
And they weren't exactly friends.
Right.
We all kind of thought that. We all thought, man, they're best friends. They've been best friends all this time. No, apparently, no.
Co-workers.
Co-workers at best. Mickey was kind of the dumb one of the bunch and I don't mean that in a negative connotation. When I say it, sorry, it's probably a bad word.
No, that's okay.
But the rest of them were all lawyers. The rest of them were all educated and had degrees, and Mickey didn't have none of that. And I don't think he was nearly as dirty crooked as the rest.
Yeah.
I think the rest of them, it was all about money. It was all about money, power, ego.
That control. Just it's sick. It's really sick. And that's just to put it lightly.
Yeah. And I don't think if Mickey would have never gotten in this environment the same way I said I felt sorry for Ben, I didn't mean like I feel sorry for Ben.
No.
I just meant, that's a shame. He came from such a great family. His mother is thought so highly of in the community, and, she's accomplished and, done such wonderful things in her own life. And, his sister's over drug court. And I mean, they just had a lot of wonderful things in their family, and for him to go, the only sexual experience and influence that he's had in his life was this. So I think it pulled him in to like, oh, this is what being a man is supposed to be like. No, it ain't.
No.
But that's what he decided he wanted to emulate.
I know. Yeah, he was dropped into that environment. And you were saying, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but you were saying you felt sorry that he was just dropped in that. But he made his own decisions.
He made his own decisions.
We don't deny that. He made his own decisions to do what he did. We're just, I got you on that.
I guess maybe the best way I should say it is I feel sorry for his mother.
There you go.
I don't feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for his mother. I should have said that. But same way with Mickey. Mickey came from very, very good people. And, I know he had kind of a hard life, but he didn't have no harder than nobody else. I mean, half of our last 3 generations don't know who their daddies are. Like that ain't no different. Maybe in his time may not been as common as it is now. But he sure ain't alone in that. But I think that maybe I don't think he has that depraved mind.
Yeah, I
think it was more a learned behavior instead of he was the follower instead of the leader.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. Well, this, like I said before, this case gets crazier and crazier by the day. Oh my goodness. And there's so much to go through. And like you said, like,
I know.
Even the stuff we already know, like, we'll be talking about something and you say something from that we first knew about, like when it broke, and I'm like, oh yeah. Because there's just so much. But I'm sure we'll speak next time.
Oh yeah, honey. We'll make this a regular thing. Anytime you want to do it, you just holler at me.
Anytime this case comes up, you're the first person and only person I'm gonna speak to, because you are the person to talk to. So thank you so much.
If you want to come on, you're welcome. If you want to come on my show anytime, you're welcome too.
I appreciate that.
And we'll get everybody down there to subscribe to you too.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, thank you for coming on. Make sure to subscribe to Hillbilly Crime, guys. We'll leave that link in the description. And yeah, until next time.